wire running along the top of the wall. That barbed wire was removed in 1975 because it was helping people get over. They could run over, jump up, grab on to that barbed wire, pull themselves to the other side. So 1975 it was replaced with this, sewage piping. Yay. Sewage piping brought from the West, repurposed as what's known as an anti-scramble device. This sewage piping is exactly the wrong size to get your arms over. There's no grip on this with a grappling hook. It's there to slow you down so that hopefully you will fall back in on this side of the wall. And that's going to be a big problem, because this was not the only wall. There were in fact two walls. The second, on average, was 13 meters inside Eastern Territory. We call it the inner wall, despite the fact that it has to be bigger than the other. Anyway, in between these two walls, you had a stretch of land that became known as the Death Strip. In the Death Strip, you'll find finely raked sand, so that your footprints could be tracked. There were trip wires that would, of course, alert guards to exactly where you were. There were guard dogs. In parts of the wall, especially towards the west, there were landmines. It was fully lit 24 hours a day, and every 150 meters, there was a guard tower with two armed guards with shoot-to-kill orders inside. Going over the Death Strip then, quite simply, not a very sensible choice. Between 1975 and 1989, an estimated 120 to 700 people died trying to cross the Berlin Wall. The reason that the estimates are that wide? Well, can't trust the East German figures, and that's really what it comes down to. The support groups that say 700, it was the East German government that said 120. About 120 people, coincidentally, did manage to cross over the Death Strip. Many more escapes were made though. The border between East and West Germany, and over the Berlin Wall and under the Berlin Wall as well. People tunneled underneath. One amazing family, they made they made their own hot air balloon by stitching a load of bed sheets together, which is pretty cool. One of my favourite escape stories though happened right here. Someone that was so trusted as to work for the government in the Ministry of Ministries. He had his wife and his 6-year-old son come in to work with him. He hid them in a cupboard, and when everyone else went home, he went right over to the other side here and managed to sail on over to the west. However, it's quite fun, it's quite exciting, but when you think about it, this guy was willing to risk the life of his 6-year-old son over this drop, over the Death Strip, just across this street, just to get to the other side. And that really is what the Berlin Wall meant to people. That's why people hated it so much. It's why it really was this symbol of oppression. The reason this part of the wall is still here is because on the other side of it, that's where the Nazi SS and Gestapo offices used to be. The Westerners never really knew what to do with this land. After Germany reunified, they put this exhibition here. It's all about how the Nazi Party came to power in Germany. So what I really like about it is they decided to leave the Berlin Wall here for this kind of poignance. It means that the Nazis and the communists here saved one another. You've got to love how much both sides would have really hated that. Now, the Berlin Wall here is in quite a poor state of repair. After it came down, people came over to chip parts of it out and take some of it home. They don't really like those people, called wall peckers, so to put a stop to it, we now have a fence protecting the Berlin Wall. Which has pretty much got to be the definition of irony now, hasn't it? One word of warning, hopefully none of you guys have bought a piece of the Berlin Wall. Has anyone done?
I got several pieces of the bridge in New York or something.
Yeah, right. Okay. Was it a genuine piece? All right. So yes, this piece of the when you buy a piece of the Berlin Wall in souvenir stores here, the likelihood of them being real, I guess it depends on how you look at it. They could have come from a wall in Berlin. Whether they came from this thing is definitely up for debate. But there you are. Anyways, there were places where people could cross the Berlin Wall legally. They were called checkpoints. The most famous is, of course, Checkpoint Charlie, which is actually just at the next corner over here. After Checkpoint Charlie, we're going for that break. Any questions? No? Let's go.